Different lighting. Ooh, a underexplained aspect of YouTube videos that look decent is that almost always somebody has a light shining directly in their own eyes the whole time. That's how you fix this thing. That's how you avoid the room lighting. Rooms have terrible lighting, and in my case, in most people's case, it's ceiling fan light. And so it's like I just get shine up here and then dark face, and it's like not great for YouTube videos. But the alternative is to go in a dark room with colored lights and shine a light directly in your own eyes. So that's how this works. Great. So, welcome to the new channel. This is actually the first new video I'm recording for this channel, where so far I've been kind of rehoming a bunch of older stuff. But the most recent upload on this channel is actually me explaining what furry conventions are like before I went off to FWA, Furry Weekend Atlanta. And I'm back. I've been back for a few weeks now, but I've got some stories to tell about this one, because this was an extremely eventful convention. Things start off the usual way with travel. I like the East Coast conventions a lot, but the downside of them is that I have to fly there from California, and I don't even live near an airport. So it has a way of making the entire day disappear immediately. Like, on paper, the time you're spending in flight is like 5 or 6 hours, which is not a colossal amount of time. So you would think you would still have a day, but then you factor in that I live 2 hours away from an airport, so that's 2 hours of commuting there, and then the conventional wisdom of being like, you should arrive 2 hours early at an airport so that you don't have to worry about just a massive number of things that can go wrong. And I stick to that strategy, and I've been happy with that strategy, and I'm not going to change that strategy, even though I do feel like I do end up with having a lot of leftover time in some of these cases. The no stress is great, but then you factor in my just total inability to sleep when I have to wake up in the morning for something. So I just know from practice that if I try to do a crazy schedule where I have to wake up at 4 a.m. and then drive to the airport, I'm just going to not sleep that entire night. So my choice is to either all night it or schedule a flight at a time that a normal human being would normally be active anyway. So I've been doing the latter to not ruin my first day at trips, and also to not have to worry about sleep-deprived driving for 2 hours. I don't want to be in danger for a furry convention, obviously, so that cuts down my options. So at that point, you're talking about flights that leave at like 11 a.m. or later because of the 4-hour lag time that happens with getting up at 7, driving for 2 hours, being at the airport for 2 hours. It's just like, it really, really boxes me out. And then I'm trying not to do any of the flights that cost twice as much, because flights are just all over the place in prices. And then you're on this 6-hour flight and you change time zones 3 times. So you lose 3 hours to that too. So every time I fly to the East Coast, I wake up first thing in the morning, get on a flight, and then arrive at like 9 or 10 p.m. That's the whole day, just like that. Like, just a cloud of iPad Balatro and Vampire Survivors, and suddenly I'm at my destination. I've done nothing all day, and it's definitely over faster than it's supposed to be because of time zones, and I'm not ready for bed, and everyone else is going to bed. Because East Coast people it's bedtime for them already. So in this case, I arrive at the airport, I get on the train, immediately find the car full of all the furries. They're easy to spot. They wear clothes with furry branding, or you just see a particular congregation of nerds, but there's often furry stickers, and there's usually 1 or 2 people just holding a fursuit head on the train, because they're just logistically having to get everything around. So you just all group up, and that helps collectively assuage everyone's worries about getting to their destination on public transport that's not their home city, because, well, collectively we must all hopefully know where we're going, and that generally works out. And I arrive at the Marriott Marquis, which is the host hotel for this convention, which is a actually insane looking convention. Let me bring up the what this place looks like. But this is a crazy hotel. It looks like some H.R. Geiger shit. Geiger shit? Geiger counter, right? But does he have to have the same name? It looks like the internal rib structure of something. Uh, Beautiful hotel, a lot of vertigo and fear looking up and down in it, but it also has this really cool space for the convention, because as you can see here, there's 3 separate floors. They're kind of hard to make out, but like this main area that looks like lungs right here, because it all looks like body parts really. This is the top floor of the lobby. Then down here, at the top of this escalator here, you can see the second floor of the lobby, and then down there you can see there's a third one down there. And here you can see all 3 layers down around the hotel. Foreshadowing is a literary device where, but this fucking place, it's a great place for a furry convention, because not only is there just sheer amounts of floor space for people to stand in and meet with people and congregate and wander around, and for fursuiters to hang out, which in particular, this right side over here where there's no tables is a place where a ton of fursuiters end up hanging out for a lot of the convention, because it's not really in anyone's way. Like, this middle bridge here isn't on the way to anything really, it just kind of connects stuff. So no one's really, there's not a lot of through traffic here. Through traffic goes along this outer rim here, so people can just stand here in huge groups and just kind of like wander around half blind in their fursuits and see who they run into, and that works out great for the con. And there's still 2 more floors of overflow if that ever becomes not enough space for that. So it's a pretty cool location overall. But I get here and I get in contact with my roommates, Jericho and Orion from Remember the Flowers, and Full Perp, the guy that does the 2 animations on my channel, and also a lot of really good but NSFW comics. So I've successfully touched base. I have my room key, but everyone else is sleepy, and it's like 10 p.m. and I haven't done anything yet today. So I go right back down to the floor here and I get in touch with some friends and try to figure out where they are. But this 3-floor lobby really comes to get me, because I am trying to find them in the lobby, and it's like, which floor of the lobby? I'm just going up and down different staircases. The escalators were out on this trip, which sucked. So at least these ones in the middle that you can see in this screen here were out. They're being rebuilt. So there's just a lot of going up and down stairs, and the other side escalators that are further away. And I'm just like, what floor are they on? Like, they're just in the lobby. They have a distinctive appearance. I would recognize them. Where the fuck are they? So I checked all 3 floors of the lobby, then finally tried messaging them, asking them where they are. And I was up on the 2nd floor at this point, and they said that they were down on the bottom floor at the Ferality portal. So I'm at one of these railings here, and I lean forward just to glance around to see if I spot them. And the worst thing that could possibly happen happens immediately, which is I just feel my phone slip out of my hand, and I just watch it fall a full floor down in slow motion directly into these ponds that are around the elevator. So I just watch the splash as my phone just disappears underwater, and that's the first thing that happened at my FWA. And I'm just, there's something beautifully humbling and uniquely upsetting about dropping stuff. Just stuff when it matters that you drop things. Like, I think about how, like, I'm not great at cooking, but I'll try to do it, and how heartbreaking it is the couple of times in my life where I spend like half an hour to an hour working on something. Maybe I even sourced the ingredients that day at the store, and I was like really working on something, maybe trying something new. And then right when you're finally all dished up and you washed your pans and you're ready to actually go eat your dinner that you made for yourself, it just slips out of your hand somehow, and it lands like face down on the floor, or worse, breaks and shatters the plate, and you're like, I'm tired. I worked for this, and I don't even get to eat it. But worse, it's not that the thing that I worked on was taken away, it's that I now have an additional chore, and shame, and deficit of goods of sorts, where it's like, one, people witness this, so now people know that this happened, that I fucked up this bad, and I don't get to eat the food. I still need to make or order more food after this, so I'm either, I think in most people's cases, they give up and just would order food at that point. Uh, but like then you have to clean up the gore, but also the shattered plate, and you have to like be really thorough around the entire surrounding area because you got to catch any amount of like splatter or shards that have escaped the immediate damage spot. And it's like, I was just trying to be good. I was just trying to do what you do, to be a healthy person. And now I have a massive amount of work to deal with and just disappointment, and I still don't get to eat. Like, just there's so many moments where dropping something is immediately humbling and upsetting. In this case, I'm arriving in Atlanta, Georgia, from California. I do have a lot of friends here in this specific convention, but I'm not that connected right now. And you really have that moment of realizing how much you need a smartphone at these conventions, generally speaking, because like I had a literal checklist. I in a journal, because I was like, I don't have object permanence. There's too many people that I know at this convention. I'm gonna write a list. I wrote a list of the people at this convention that I know, so I could try to like check them off one by one and just remember who I have and haven't touched base with, and also like who I can potentially like message next if I have downtime and so on, and just keep this convention going. And it worked great, but I'm like, how do I get in touch with a single one of those people if I don't have a smartphone, when it's like everyone's either in their rooms or at a destination and always moving? There isn't like a way to find people besides just raw recognition and happenstance. So that's upsetting. And then I'm thinking about like RSD, rejection sensitivity dysphoria or whatever, where it's like people that I know that are anxious enough that they will potentially think that I'm avoiding them or don't like them anymore if I ghost them for the entire convention, and it'll take me way too long until after I get back from the trip to be able to even start to explain to people on Telegram on my computer that I just didn't have a phone the whole trip. Whoops. I'm like, this is catastrophic. And it's like, it's like every one of these trips that you like look forward to for months and you spend hundreds of dollars on, you're like, this is a big thing. Like it's built in, it's got that like birthday effect where it's like, this is built up in my head as like being a thing that there's like a pressure to have fun and make a good use of this trip. Otherwise you're like kind of wasting it. And in that moment, you just watch the phone disappear into the water and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of this trip. I'm even like thinking like, do I know how to get back to my room? Like, I was there for like 5 minutes. I took a quick shower because I felt gross from all the walking I did on the way here. So I just took a quick shower and then got dressed again and came out. Do I remember what room number it is? Because I have the key in my wallet, but can I find the room again without a phone? Because my clever way of protecting myself against this is like, when I arrive in a room, I take a picture of the room number with my phone, just so that if I happen to forget, I have this backup. And even when I'm at the airport, I take a picture of like where I parked, like what parking sign is nearby, so I know where I parked when I got back from my trip, so I don't have to worry about looking for my car afterwards. Like, a lot of the stuff is on my phone. Good note-taking, but it is on my phone. Admittedly, I've never lost my phone. I've never broken my phone, and I've had a phone since I was a teenager. I think I got a phone when I was like 17, and now I'm 35, so I have a extremely good track record with a phone. This is the worst phone incident of my entire life, is dropping it a full floor down into water. So this is all my catastrophizing. This is all my worry about this stuff. I have to move though, so there's like a moment of slow motion, a moment of dread, but also the adrenaline, I guess, takes over. The urgency of knowing that your phone is in water, and I don't know if my phone can handle water. I have never checked. I don't want to test this, and I've never really thought about this ever before. I just inherently, I grew up when things get destroyed by water, so I'm inherently afraid of any electronic being in water because I am older than cell phones. So I find like the service stairs because it's the fastest way down, and I just book it downstairs. I get to the railing downstairs, which basically, it actually might be here. This might be the exact spot, actually, this coincidental photo I found. And there is a semicircle of fursuiters just all congregated around the railing, looking down and asking each other what's going on, because they all saw it happen. They all saw the phone land here. And it's like, it's a fun little event that everyone's witnessed here. They're, of course, imagining that it came from, like, way higher up, because it's like a 50-floor nightmare hotel. It's an absurdly tall building. Looking up can give you vertigo, just because of the weird structure of it all and the curvy walls and everything. And everyone's always a little worried about a person or a thing falling and that kind of thing. In this case, it fell one floor. It's not that, it was not going to kill anybody. It probably wouldn't have even hurt anybody, but it would have been a surprise. And I'm like, I just have to own up to him, like, yeah, that's my phone, and I don't have time to explain or move. I'm just gotta, like, go. So I'm like, in practical terms, I'm just like, I don't know what else to do besides, like, I guess I fuck it. I just take my right shoe off and my sock, and I roll up my pant leg up to my knee, and I just climb over the rail foot first into the pond, which is deeper than it looks. But I'm able to, like, land on that foot and then pull my other foot over and stand on one foot, hold onto the rail with one arm, and then, like, reach down and grab my phone and, like, shake it off and put that in my pocket and try to climb back out. I did need somebody's help getting back out, because I was, like, able to, like, hook one leg back over the rail, and I'm like, can somebody pull me up? Because I, like, it's like my hips are, like, a full 2 or 3 feet, like, below the rail. Like, that is deeper than it looks, because here it looks almost flat, as if the water and the rocks are the same height or something, but there's depth there. So it was some effort to get back out, and I'm just shaking off my phone, I'm, like, turning it on, and, like, it turns on. So that's good news. It turned out my phone worked. Not only did it turn back on, it just continued to function. It just had a new warning I've never seen before, which is that it won't let me charge my phone until it's like there's either water or an obstruction in the USB device, so you won't be able to charge your phone and so on. And so my phone wouldn't let me charge it that night. I happened to wake up late at night and turn it on and charge it up later because the notification was finally gone. But what a way to start the con. That really woke me up. That stressed me out. I actually ended up finding my friends that I was looking for in the first place. I remember I was just, like, putting my shoe back on, and shoe and sock back on, which is always hard when your foot's wet now, but there's not much you can do about it. And just, like, yeah, guess y'all, talking to the fursuiters that are all just still standing there, like, guess you guys have a story now. Have a good convention. I'm just like, I'm not that embarrassed. I'm just stressed. And I'm just thankful somebody helped me out a little bit. I'm thankful that my phone seems to work. I'm thankful that it didn't implode my entire trip that I was looking forward to for ages. It happens. That is the worst I've ever dropped a phone. Just ever. I had one phone that had a cracked screen in the corner of it, just, like, diagonally just along the corner, like, completely ignorable crack. I've never spider-webbed a screen before. I've just never dropped a phone badly ever, except right now. I'm so happy that didn't destroy my convention. Instead, what happened is I ended up having the best convention I've ever had. So that was, like, real moment of truth moment where it all came down to that. FWA was insane. It is the biggest furry convention that's ever happened. And so once I get to say that I was at the biggest furry convention in history for, like, the 5th time. That just keeps happening. It's not that remarkable. But real density of people. Extremely enjoyable convention where I just kind of went from thing to thing directly every day. Particularly, I had conversations that I was having with people on the train ride over that weren't at the convention, and then I kind of accidentally vanished from all of those people for a few days, just because I was immediately so busy with back-to-back things happening and people talking to me in real life and everything, and being at events and so on, that I just genuinely wasn't checking any social media stuff for days straight, aside from just, like, coordinating with people on Telegram and so on. And it was the type of convention where there's so many people around that I would just kind of float, and just like the moment I finished with something, I could just kind of walk for a few minutes in the lobby, and I would run right into another person I recognized, and we would just chat for another 30 to 60 minutes and hang out, and it would just flow like that easily. There was just always another person to run into organically, and always a lot of enough opportunities sporadically distributed through the whole thing that just kind of kept me busy. Organized like Korean barbecue. We went to a rock climbing place. There's a bunch of panels about like cyberpunk and organizing in the convention, organizing within the furry fandom, and from like a leftist perspective. The dance competition. Red Means Recording, Jeremy, the friend of the channel that I've done some videos with, and helped make the soundtrack to my game, was guest of honor at this convention, and he did like an hour plus long DJ set, which you can actually watch on his channel right now. That was him bringing in a wide range of furry musicians, using it and using all of their different songs back to back, and showcasing them and being sure to credit them, and like really showing where it's all coming from and stuff like that. And like that was all very cool. Let's switch cameras back. I'm bad at this. In particular, I got to hang out with Jeremy both before and after his set. And morning of, it's just like you see him, like hasn't really slept, nervous, having breakfast with him, just chatting, but also like just knowing him, like I'm talking to someone who's about to just go on stage in front of hundreds of people in a few hours, and that's just kind of a wild thing to recognize is about to happen. There was one drag on the whole convention, and it's the downside of all of FWA, is that the elevator line is brutal. There's two hotels, the Marriott Marquis, and then is it the Hyatt? I forget what the second like main hotel is that people are constantly in. Both of these ones have huge lines for the elevator. There's just so many people. It's such a social convention that people are actively switching floors constantly and trying to get to this or that room party, or back to their room to relax, or to change clothes, or to take a shower, or wake up in the morning, or retire for the night, and so on. But then there's a lot of destinations all throughout the hotel where things are being hosted everywhere. And then the reasons to get back down to the lobby to get to panels and so on. There's just a lot of reasons to move around. So it's kind of like you have like Disneyland traffic happening constantly from just everyone trying to get around. And it taxes the elevator system of every host. Every hotel that hosts these places always gets hit hard if they're an elevator based convention or hotel. And this one's real rough. In particular, I have, especially in the second hotel, I've basically never used the elevator. I will just give up and take the stairs, which means taking like 14 flights of stairs to get to somebody's room, which leads to you arriving as a bit of a mess. So it's not entirely ideal. And then in my hotel's case, we're on like floor like 27. No, that's not. We're not taking the stairs to get there. And I also couldn't find stairs that actually access the elevator floors, as opposed the hotel room floors, as opposed to the lobby floors. They're like separate, and I couldn't figure out where the connection was for people to even do that in the first place. But wild amount of traffic. It's a good convention to bring a backpack to, with a big water bottle that you can refill, which there are stations for that, and just kind of keep your backpack on and just never go back to the room. And I try to use that strategy. In fact, I first bought my current backpack for FWA last year. There was one complication, which came up, which is that I was at a friend's panel, and we were going to all go to their room and have drinks together and hang out. And I knew that I had dinner coming up, and I realized I don't have time to go to this thing because I'm sitting down with Riker and his boyfriend. It's going to be at a sit down place, so it's going to be kind of a fancy place. And I realize too late that in this moment that I'm like, I am wearing a very particular shirt, which I bought from Matt Baum, a fellow gay YouTuber's merch store, which I think is very funny, and it's appropriately funny and off color for this convention. I cannot wear this shirt at a sit down restaurant with dim lights and so on. I cannot show up looking like this. I need to switch to like a plaid button up. So I need to do elevator con. I need to get back to my room. And it's like, it's because I was wearing this shirt, which is a choice. Oh God. Just the energy of that shirt is incredible. Just expired bottom and then tie-dye and just incredible merch design. Hats off to the YouTuber that made it. But I'm not going to this dinner dressed like this. So I did end up missing out an entire event because I spent like a half an hour, legitimately like half an hour, just trying to get back to my room, because it turned out that the time that I was going back to change was prime traffic time for that. So that was unfortunate. There's also the time that I got exiled from my room on the last day. I'm used to getting exiled from my room because there's a lot of people sharing these rooms. You often split these rooms 4 or 5 ways, and someone will often be like, guys, I need the room for the next half an hour. And you know what that means. And you just let them have the room for a while. This is not the usual reason. The reason why I got exiled from my room for a while was that, and I had to just kind of wander around and find new things to do, which I did just fine, thankfully. Howley decided to release a new build of Chemia in the middle of FWA. So all of my roomies and a bunch of other people from the extended friend group were all congregated in my hotel room to play Chemia, the sequel to Ad Astra, and reading through it together so they could experience the new build. So, and I am not spoiled on the build, and I'm not caught up because I hold off and I'm trying to wait for it to finish so I can do it all at once. But at the very least, I want to, save myself until I'm recording a playthrough of that game, so I'm not spoiled as far as doing it. So I couldn't go in that room. So it's just extremely funny to be like, I can't go back to my room. Chemia came out today. Speaking of Ad Astra, though, there is an Amicus toy, as in like a silicone novelty based on Amicus's anatomy, which I've heard is threatening. Is the word I've heard described for that particular toy. And where I ended up instead of the Chemia group was I actually ended up in the room party of the guy who owns the company that makes that toy, which led to the particular visual of just seeing a giant mirror in the hotel that had every single one of these toys that they make suction cupped to the mirror in all of their sizes and all of their types, which is that's an insane visual on its own, mixed with the mirror and everything. I didn't take a picture of it because there's a mirror, so you'd be photographing the people in the room. I couldn't show it here anyway, but I would have taken a picture in general. But you can't do anything with that picture because it have a mirror with people in it. I'm not taking pictures of people, and I couldn't help but think I was definitely that guy in the corner of the party, like they don't know meme. I was just wondering, I wonder how many sales here that these people have made were because of me. I'm wondering how many units of these have I shipped functionally because of me doing a video essay about Ad Astra that has over 500,000 views. And I'm like, I created an influx of Ad Astra readers and by proxy Echo readers, and it's like half the people that watch my video then argue with me, nuh-uh, it's not the best visual novel. Echo are people who only read Echo because they saw my video in the first place and the thumbnail and title worked on them, and then they read Ad Astra and then they read Echo, and now they're going back to argue with me afterwards. And I'm like, it's just video branding, guys. It's not, I don't sincerely think or necessarily care what the best is, but big evocative word lead to people click on video. So I'm like, it's the best visual novel. There will be tears. That's how you make a video on YouTube. That's just the whole point. That's not the whole point. Sorry. It's how you get people to actually watch the video. That's just, otherwise you just, if you title everything scientifically and accurately and with as much nuance as possible, you create videos that nobody clicks on. And that's just a thing that I get hit with all the time whenever I make the mistake of being descriptive instead of evocative. But yeah, I think I can't. It's deeply narcissistic, but I can't help but think that whenever I'm in an area that has like Ad Astra merch, I'm like, how much money did I indirectly make these people? It's just very funny to think about. But yeah, I had a great convention. Thank you to all the people that really made the convention special and a great experience all around. I was very happy to be there. And yeah, like a thing that I think highlights the point of a lot of this stuff is like at the end of the day, it is just about getting the chances to hang out with people and spend time with people, and that's what I value about a lot of it. Like one of the highlights of the convention was that I was headed towards the After Dark market, and then caught wind that a bunch of my friends were on the floor beneath it instead, just coalesced around a table and playing spin the bottle and just pulling up more and more and more and more chairs to the spot and just asking mean questions basically and fucking around in a joking sort of way. And I'm like, immediately rerouted. I'm like, I'm not going to this thing. I'm going down to that. I'm gonna go hang out with these people. And like that was one of the that was some of the best stuff that happened in the whole convention. I just look forward to more of that. And then at some point I also feel like you do it, maybe end up graduating from conventions a little bit, and you hit a point where you have enough of these people around that you're like, I just want to hang out with these people. And you can, and it's always worth keeping in mind, furries, and I did this last year too. You can just coordinate with some of these people and just go on a trip together somewhere more remote and more cheap and just hang out for a week instead of doing the whole convention thing too. So if you find yourself getting stressed out too much by the logistics of all these things, you can always just plan a trip. It's worth remembering that you can have normal vacations that aren't you all going to a prearranged thing that you happen to all have a shared interest in. It's good to have both. As far as conventions go for me, I'm currently not going to Anthrocon. I don't have any kind of like planned room group or anything, and I do not make big money. I had a question on Patreon asking how do I afford going to so many conventions, and part of it is that like I split rooms like 4 to 5 ways. I pay as little as possible on these trips if I can get away with it. If I had to pay in particular for the entire hotel room, I'd be going to one convention a year. Hotel rooms are so expensive. I do not make big YouTuber monies. I do not at all. Everything that I own in the world, basically, besides my bank account and my car, is in this room right now. So hopefully it's not a fire. This is literally everything I own right around me within a 15-foot radius or whatever. So no, I'm not a rich YouTuber, and I do not have those pop you fur perks or whatever. I do just have to shell out for these things, and it's just you choose what to value with the money that you have and the time that you have, and you invest it the way that you do. And I'm just currently in a spot where it's like, I don't make a lot of money, but I have carefully maintained a situation where I don't have costs that much, and I'm trying to upgrade my living situation. So once I do that, maybe I afford fewer things because I'll finally have a cooler place that I'm living in. And I'm actively trying to move right now, so that might happen pretty quickly. But for now, there's a bit of a gap here where I'm like, I'm ready to upgrade my life and not be in this one room all the time. But not there yet. We're literally a friend of mine and I are trying to move in together and and rent a house together, and just no one, like, we can afford it. It's just no one picks us. It just doesn't work. It's very frustrating. So right now, not going to Anthrocon because I don't have a group to split the room and stuff with. But I am going to my first Megaplex, is because we have a friend group that like has people down there that couldn't make it to FWA, and we wanted to try including them, and it'd be a chance to visit a new place. Although mixed feelings on Florida for various reasons lately, so we'll see. So that'll be interesting. I'll be at Megaplex. I'll be at BLFC and MFF probably, because I pretty much always go to those. BLFC, we're already making plans for, so that's pretty locked in. And also, it's a 2-hour drive, so I'll probably always go to BLFC for as long as I live in this area, which could change the next year, but probably not. We'll see. So see you guys around. Like always, you can always just say hi to me and talk to me at conventions. I'm just a person. It's not a big deal or anything. But feel free to ask for a picture. It's all fine. And I'll see you guys around. And behind the scenes on this channel, little channel update, I'm working on getting all of the old videos that I feel like belong here rehomed. I might randomly discover new videos that I feel like should come here and might re-upload those in the future here, just kind of at random. Right now we're getting like 2 or 3 videos a week on this channel, and the idea is that one of those is new each week, like this one, and then a few old ones here and there, just to like kind of build what this channel's shaped like. But then once it settles in, we'll be probably back to making 1 video a week in the style of this, and just kind of hanging out, feeling out how I go, how I want to do the camera, whether or not I think this slideshow thing is a good inclusion or not, what the vibe is, how much I do life update vlogs or specific interrogations of like topical questions or reactions to things and so on. We're just gonna feel it out. But I'm happy to see that people are starting to check this place out. I'm hoping that people enthusiastically engage and just kind of like that it just kind of goes well. I just hope that I can succeed in the perfect like outcome, which is that I think that it's kind of undisputed that people like this kind of content and want it. It's just the struggle of getting the people who watch me already to go here specifically for this content that they want. Because an unfortunate part of the modern algorithmic internet is that it's just really hard to communicate to your own audience about basically anything. So whenever I have anything going on another channel or a Patreon or even playthroughs on my gaming channel that are happening right now, people will be like, what? I didn't know you were doing that. And I'm like, geez, we're literally on the same channel where it's happening. What do you mean? And I'm like, I'm not blaming them, but I'm just like, YouTube just selectively chooses to show things and not show things. And we have no control over that in many cases, unless you are just manually checking it. And like, it's a very old school internet mindset that makes you informed. If you're engaged with a particular channel, then you like actually look at their channel and you look at their socials and you check their like alternate channels and you like really engage in it in a like web 1.0 sort of way where you physically just manually browse. That kind of person is really plugged in and understands what's going on with their favorite YouTubers and so on. But everyone else, the majority of people that use these platforms as intended, just get served whatever the service tells them to watch. And that is rough because it's just like, it makes it a struggle just to show people content that they want. I think about like how my Evil Dead video just utterly flopped to the point where like random gaming videos I upload outperform it. And I'm like, that was a high effort thing that I spent months on. And I think there's a decent amount of my audience that would watch me do any video essay basically because they like it's me discussing the stuff in the style of the way that they liked hearing it discussed. So but if it doesn't immediately get that exact emotional response and that level of engagement right out the gate, it just gets suppressed. It just doesn't spread. And so even my own subscribers don't see the video. And I'm like, and that's because they use the front page. That's because they use the algorithm. I can't fully relate. I use the subscription tab almost exclusively on YouTube. I do actually do the old school internet way of just following people and then like watching their videos in a chronological order because it's in my inbox. Just like how like Fur Affinity shows a feed of in your inbox of all the things that people post that you happen to be following, and like DeviantArt, like a lot of gallery sites do that still. And then like I might dip into the front page of YouTube for a moment just to like be surprised by something and find a new channel or thing. But I always have a tab open in my browser just for the subscription tab of YouTube to see what people that I follow are actually uploading in a very objective way without being guided by the algorithm about what to watch and what not to watch. I wish that was more common because it would mean that it'd be easier to reach my own audience. But right now, when I'm trying to launch this channel, that's definitely the struggle, is trying to figure out how to send people over there, over here from those other places. Because this is the ideal solution, I think, is this new channel is side vlogs, but for everything. because I have 3 other channels ultimately. I have my main gaming channel where I make a living. I have my video essay channel where I'm trying very hard to get better at making videos in my free time, which I don't really have. Then I have Null Playing Games, which is my tabletop RPG channel that I host with Ka and Toaster and everybody. And this is where I can do side discussions, and I was uploading these at first to the gaming channel, which is a good supplement to the gaming channel as a side thing for them to watch. But I'm like, but these poor video essay people that like my stuff they're engaged with these topics and would like to see these videos too, but that would require them to know my gaming channel exists and also put up with me just vomiting a deluge of gaming content in their face all the time. They might be interested in, because they subscribe for curated, more high effort written content. But there's people that like that stuff and are cool with seeing more from the person that they like hearing from, but don't necessarily want Twitch streams, basically, like just hours and hours of gaming content and me happening to be in it. Like there are Venn diagrams there, but it's not all at once. So making this a third location, a new location where people can come from both channels and meet here for this stuff, is ideal. And since I will then be making this type of content consistently on this channel, that also means that these videos are more likely to be suggested to you when you watch other content on this channel. So the stuff on this channel would be more likely to be evergreen, and you might loop through a series of videos on this channel the way you do on other channels, which gives them more of a life, and also might lead to some of these videos actually kind of taking off. If they're about something topical or interesting, they might have more of a lifespan than they do as just quick disposable stuff. So that's all interesting. That all has potential, but I have no idea how to ensure any of it happens. It would help if I just was a millionaire and had millions of subscribers, but I'm not that big. So every time you jump channels, you lose a large percentage of your people, and you try to get that back either by having it grow and spread to those people over time as the algorithm suggests your side content to them, or just have it grow in its own right because this stuff just does well on its own, and that's the struggle. So we'll see if I can achieve that or not. It's totally up in the air. I appreciate any level of support you guys give in the form of just leaving comments, liking videos, and like watching them all the way through and so on. Those are all things that just tell the website these are good videos, and it's annoying that how much we have to worry about all these layers of artifice when we're trying to deal with this stuff, but that's what the website is. For those of you that are waiting for a new video essay, I am working on one right now. I have been working on them all along, except maybe in the last month or so. I had a bit of a life-sucking experience with the game Blueprints, which I got into, and my gaming channel was really enjoying it, and it's doing well. So I'm like, okay, let's do this right. And I was just like, I'll binge this game. I'll get fully invested in it because I don't want to lose track of where I am in this game and what's going on with the puzzles and all the different mysteries. I want to keep my memory as fresh as I can and just fully engage. But Blueprints is a roguelike puzzle game, so it turned out to be incredibly demanding of time. So I finally finished it. I finally got the final ending, I'm pretty sure. It seems pretty clear this time. And it took me like 120 hours. So bit of a setback there. Additionally, I was working on video essays about multiple other topics like Black Mirror and Zelda and so on, and I've had setbacks on those topics, and in particular, the Zelda video needs a rework. This happens a lot with my videos, is I hit a point where I'm like, okay, this is structurally getting messy. I need to start over at this video essay, hit these points again, but in a very different order that flows better, trim off a lot of the stuff that doesn't add to my point, but it's just me ranting about things that felt good in the moment and let me put a lot of words down that day, but ultimately aren't going to actually contribute to the thing. So writing is very nonlinear, and I'm not good at reaching my destination quickly because I have a lot of standards for myself, and I'm very picky about a lot of stuff. And I even have multiple video essays that are functionally finished, and in a different world I would have recorded and uploaded, but instead I'm like, no, I don't like this. And there's so I need to get better at my workflow there. I need to get better at structurally planning these things out. I need to be better at committing to these things and maybe lower my standards a little bit and just let some of these things I'm not happy with come out. In the meantime, I'm currently working on a video essay about Luca, basically out of spite because of all the comments I get on the Beastars video that are hostile to the Luca intro, and then I want to unpack that, and that should be interesting. But also, I just want to avoid scope creep because of how messy some of these other ideas have been. For example, like I want to do a video on Myst, but that involves rereading 3 books and replaying 8 games, one of which is an MMO, and that's a lot to handle when you're not even a full-time video essayist and have to deal with your gaming channel and so on. Like I struggle to get time to work on this stuff in a given day at all. So projects that are that big and scary are very difficult to tackle. So going down to Luca, I'm like, okay, it's like a 90-minute movie. Can't get that much bigger than that. And I'm restricting myself to that topic and the related stuff. It's going to be a bit beyond that topic. But I'm like, we're going to just talk about a movie, because even in my past stuff, I'm like talking about a relatively long visual novel, not long for visual novels, but it's long because it's a visual novel, talking about an anime. Like I've multiple times I've talked about a longer series, and I'm like, please, let's just talk about something that you can consume in one sitting and reconsume in one sitting, and keep it small and just get something out there so people know that I'm alive. I am working on these things. It's just a lot to juggle at once. And unfortunately, I spent all of last year trying to get an ADHD diagnosis, and I'm very frustrated in that the answer was no, asterisk, in that there's so many weird, suspicious elements to the way that the whole thing played out that I did not get the definitive no that I wished that I would have gotten, because that would have at least given me answers. The process was so weird and frustrating that it mostly feels like they just weren't taking me seriously. But that's a topic for another day. In fact, I will probably make a video detailing that process, and people can make up their minds about that process and so on. But if I have ADHD, I have remained unmedicated and untreated, and a lot of people seem to think that I do, so that would have helped. I don't know. See you guys next time. Be sure to hit the bell or whatever, like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. Notifications would help you find these videos in the future. We'll see if I make any more of those, like, movie commentary videos. I would love to do those again. They are a pain to edit, but maybe I get into a groove of grouping up with some friends and doing one of them every other month or something, maybe. I did enjoy rewatching that Resident Evil video that we made years ago and having that come out, so maybe that'll return someday. But for now, I gotta go. I gotta edit this. I gotta get back to work on video essays. So see you around.